Episode number 5 is now underway. That's crazy. I can't believe I've done 4 of these already. That's really cool. On number 5. All right. So, last 2 episodes we talked about 75 Hard and what it taught me and the lessons and stuff because, like I said, the program changed my life. So, I wanted to explain some of the things that it taught me and go into detail. And stay organized as much as possible because I have been sucking ass at doing that. So, hopefully, by the end of this episode, I'll have knocked out all the lessons that the program taught me. And we'll go from there. So, again, just want to reiterate here. Got some rules for the podcast here. So, they are, number 1, can't tell a soul about the first 100 episodes. If you're part of the first 100 and you've listened to the first 100, you are in the sub 100 club. And I don't know what that means, but you're in there. So, thank you. Rule number 2, must record solo, no guests or bullshitting. So, I just want to be me. So, I am getting better at the whole reason why I want to podcast, or why I'm doing the first 100 podcasts without telling anybody, is just to get better and to familiarize myself with the shit and talking and all that stuff. So, rule number 3, each episode must be a minimum of 20 minutes long, and that is to prevent me from half-assing it and putting out a little 2-3 minute thing. And I do think there's a lot of value in some of those shorter podcasts, but for the sake of me growing and progressing, no less than 20 minutes long, not even 19 minutes, 59 seconds. It's got to be 20 minutes long. So, that's number 3. Rule number 4, there must be a takeaway from each episode. So a lesson, a new perspective, a new insight, something that you can take away and run with and say, ooh, I didn't know that, or I like that, I feel good about that, I like how he said that, whatever. Something like that you can take away. And then rule number 5, a commitment to 5 podcasts uploaded per week on Spotify. And I'm not sure about any of the... all right, bro, I guess I'm having a stroke. Not sure about any of the other platforms. But Spotify is what we're rolling with right now. It's better than nothing. So, and I always say I'm going to look into it. I haven't looked into it once, man. I think just Spotify's king. If you don't think so, dude, you're full of shit. Yeah, you need to learn some shit because Spotify's king, period. Anyway, and then final rule number 6 is no edits or cuts unless I got to take a shit. And that's it. Those are the rules. So again, if you're listening to the first 100 episodes here, you are in the sub 100 club, and maybe that'll be the new title for the episodes. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll make a little logo for the cover art or something. I don't know. Who gives a shit, bro? Doesn't matter. So I guess I'm following the pattern of last episode where I talked about kind of what my routine is and how I'm doing. So I want to share something real quick. So I just started phase 1 of 75 Hard. And I'm on day 2 today. Wait, am I on day 2? Am I on day 3? Day 2. What the hell? I'm on day 2. And dude, man, it has been actually very challenging. I'm only on day 2. But my 3 additional tasks are time consuming. I'm doing a podcast, which I force myself to do at least 20 minutes. And I don't want to just stop at 20 minutes. I want to just let it flow. And if I end up being an hour and a half, or if I end up being 35 minutes, or whatever the case may be, I want it to be that. So we'll just say 30 minutes, and then I've got 20 minutes of stretching because I want to be mobile, man. I want to increase some of my lifts. I want to be fearless I don't want to be so paranoid of getting injured and shit because I have 2 herniated discs, and it's preventing me from doing a lot of lower body stuff, so don't want that anymore. And then we've got, let's record a 20-minute podcast and write 2 pages, and it depends on if I'm in the state of flow or not. Yeah, it depends on... Yep, it depends on if I'm in a state of flow or not to get those pages knocked out. So, it could take up to 30 minutes depending on where I'm at, So, we get 20 minutes for stretching, 30 minutes podcast, 30 minutes writing pages, and then on top of that, I'm writing 10 things that I'm grateful for. And one thing I actually specified more clearly last night when I did them was 7 of them have to be from the current state, present time life, my life I'm living now. And then 3 of them are going to be ones that that are in the future. No, I actually did explain that last episode. So yesterday I was grateful for the Lamborghini that I own. I was grateful for my wife, and I was grateful for my home. So that I bought with my money. So, and that takes a little bit of time. I actually I think what I'm going to do with the grateful things is to space them out throughout the day, or just do them when they come to my mind instead of kind of forcing them out. Because I did notice that when I came down to writing 10 in detail, that's another part of the rule. You can't just write grateful for weather. It's got to be I'm grateful for so-and-so because so-and-so did this and blah, 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 and I appreciate them and their example, blah, blah. I see that people, it's kind of like that because I want to focus on the positive and stop complaining about stupid shit and kind of live my life a little bit differently moving forward. So, yeah. So, spacing them out throughout the day, I think, is going to be the way to get it done because I already wrote 3 at work, and they were ones that I kind of wrote from the heart. It felt really good to write those right then and there, and now it's 3 less that I have to worry about cramming in tonight, and I don't have to worry about forcing it or it coming from a insincere, who gives a fuck, place or a heart, so, So, I get home from work, and I'm tired as shit because I all the stuff that I had to do yesterday, I let time slip away from me a little bit, and I didn't go to bed till about 9 o'clock, so me waking up at 2:30 a.m. only gave me 5.5 hours of sleep. I try to get 7, and so it's challenging, so I'm going to try my best today to get at least 6 hours of sleep, so that means I got to go to bed in 2 hours, 15 minutes from right now. And I think I actually might have to adjust my whole schedule to go to sleep at 8:30, and I'll get only 6 hours of sleep as opposed to the 7 that I prefer, and kind of see how I operate and see how I function and how everything flows, because that extra hour is so valuable for my schedule at the moment. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about real quick. I'm talking about what 75 Hard taught me, so maybe I'll just dive into that real quick. So, I'll dive into that later in the episode after I knock out what I had initially planned to talk about. So, anyway, I came home from work, was so tired, laid on my bed for a sec, took a 4-minute power nap, felt a little good. Then I went for my outdoor workout. I actually went to a church parking lot with a weighted vest and did some power walking backwards because my knees suck shit. And if you don't know anything about walking backwards and the benefits it has for your knee health, you should look into it. It's pretty cool. And another small win that I had that I'm really trying to focus on is I learned a lot from the program of not giving a fuck what other people have to say or think about what I'm doing. It still gets me, if somebody were to knock on my door right now and be like, hey, hello, I'm sure I'd freeze and I'd lose my train of thought and I'd freak the fuck out because somebody's hearing me talk on a podcast, and just a lot of growth that needs to take place, But I went and walked backwards in a church parking lot, and previously I had actually avoided that because I didn't want people to see me running backwards because I didn't want them to be like, what the hell is this guy doing? And I did it, dude, and people drove by, saw me do that shit. But dude, I'm better in myself, man, and my knees feel great right now. And why would I? Man, it's just so crazy that we do that. We are doing things that better ourselves, but we're so fearful of what somebody might say or think, even though what we're doing is only making us better, stronger. We're only progressing when we do these things, but it might look a little bit silly to somebody else, so we don't do it. If anybody knows the psychology behind that, that'd be interesting to read up on. Not some bullshit voodoo heebie-jeebie. I mean, like, real psychology of why we shy away from certain things, even though we know they're only beneficial to it. It's crazy. I love psychology, but I don't know shit about it. So, or I guess a lot about what we do and what we don't do, and who, why, what, when, where, why, how. So whatever. Anyway, went for the outdoor workout and got home, did an ice bath, and I helped my uncle kind of move some shit around in the basement. They're redoing their basement, so I'm helping him do that. So, and now I'm here. It's also NBA tip-off. Lakers are playing the Nuggets, and I think the Lakers are getting creamed, dude. Let's take a look real quick. I'm a Laker fan. I'm a diehard fan, and so it's a big deal. Oh, yeah, they're down by 11. Awesome, dude. Well, it's only game 1, so we'll see what happens. But that's another thing, man. I want to watch the game so bad, but I got to record this podcast. I got to write 2 pages. I got to write down things that I'm grateful for. I don't got to do any of this shit. I get to, and I want to, and I have the desire to be better, and I know these things are going to make me better. So just wanted to rephrase my sentences right there. And then I get to stretch for 20 minutes. And then I have to read as well. Then I got to do 10 minutes of visualization. And then, is that it? Yeah, I think after that, then I'm solid to go to bed. So still got a lot of shit to get done for the day. But I think I got plenty of time to do it as long as I stay focused and get the shit done. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out these last few points that I wrote down about 75 hard. And then hopefully we can move on. And then I can touch on some other points. And I might even do that tomorrow. I'm not sure because I'm going to knock out all of these. And depending on where we're at, I'm going to end it when I'm done with all of these points. So we'll see where I'm at. So talked about the water, the double workouts. I talked about the time management. Talked about the adding a gallon of water to your mix. You got to start forecasting piss breaks when you drink water. And then I talked about becoming hyper aware of every detail that others and yourself do every day and the time wasting shit, like scrolling on your phone between sets. And then the last thing I talked about was my workouts being a little bit challenging to reach that 45-minute mark because I was just so aware of my workouts and what I was doing and how, it's crazy. So, all right. So the next thing on the list is the nutrition plan forced me to eat in a way conducive to my goals. And I actually failed this last go round of 75 hard on day 5. And my nutrition wasn't clearly defined on what to do. I didn't have a outline of the exact diet that I wanted to follow, per se. All I had was a protein goal, and that was it. So my diet was eat 200 grams of protein. That's it. Oh, I mean, obviously, and then the restriction of no junk food, no bullshit like that. But it was just 200 grams of protein. So I would just get my 200 grams of protein and I'd kind of just hang out, and I wouldn't have gained the 20 pounds that I did in the program if I didn't fail, actually. So because I failed, I went back and redid all my, I don't know what you call it. I went back and rewrote my nutrition plan, my workout, everything, so that it was in detail enough for me to understand, I guess, where the boundaries were. Because if you have to, so Andy says it himself. He says if you have to ask whether something counts or not, it doesn't count. And so I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to be like, oh shoot, does this count? Because the fact that you even have to ask if it counts means that there is a possibility in your mind, the one doing the program, that it doesn't count. Because if it did count, you wouldn't question it. But because you're not sure, you do question it. So it makes perfect sense to me why it would not be allowed if you have to question it. So yeah, if you have to ask, the answer is no, right? So because I failed, I redid my nutrition program, and because of that, I put a calorie requirement on there. So it was 200 grams of protein and then minimum 3,000 calories. And how I got to those calories didn't necessarily matter, but obviously no junk, no bullshit, no chips, no ice cream, no stereotypical junk food, none of that shit. All I had was home cooked meals. I had some, PB&Js out the ass. I had chicken and rice a lot, stuff like that, no cheats, nothing, no soda, nothing whatsoever. Actually, I haven't drank soda all year, so it's a win for me. And yeah, so again, if I wouldn't have failed, I wouldn't have made the progress that I made. So it's a good thing that I had to take 5 steps back in order to take 75 more forward. So there's a little lesson or a little insight for you. If I didn't fail, I probably wouldn't have made as much progress. Probably wouldn't be feeling as good. All because I failed, Fail forward. That's awesome, actually, to think about. Fuck yeah, dude. So that's the nutrition part that I wanted to talk about. And then, let's see, was there another one here? Yeah, no, that's it. So, reading the book. So, no audiobooks count. Can't read that shit from, I don't believe you can read that shit from your phone. I believe it has to be a physical book where you turn the pages, you read, you put a bookmark in it. I could be wrong. I know you can read from a Kindle, but I'm not sure about your phone. But I know it can't be an audiobook. You have to read with your eyes, 10 full pages, and I believe the book says something like 250 to 300 words per page or something like that for it to count as a full page. So, if you're reading a book and it says chapter 1, and that's all for the page, that's not a fucking page, bro. And the fact that Andy even has to explain that to people, you're not getting the point of the program. But that's a whole other thing. But anyway, it was badass finishing books because I went on this reading spree forever ago, and I was reading a book a week, and I was reading it just for the sake of checking off boxes and shit. And I started bulk buying books. I'd buy like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different books at a time, and then started loading up my bookshelf. And then I just stopped, dude. So I had about 20 books on my bookshelf that I hadn't even touched. And I was doing it just to check off a box and say, oh, I read a book a week, 52 books a year, bitch, you know. But if I'm not learning anything, and I'm not taking the value away from these books, and I'm not changing my life, and I'm essentially just wasting time, dude. If I'm not, what the fuck am I doing, you know? So, taking a physical book, reading it all the way through, and exactly like Andy explained, man, it's so crazy how spot on some of this shit is. But seeing that bookmark go from the front of the page, about halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, and then you're on that last. You look at the book and you think, oh man, I only got to read one more session. I'm done with the book, yeah. And then you read the book and you finish it. You close that book. You read it from start to finish. That's a really good feeling. And I don't know what the statistic is, but I don't know. 75% of adults never read or touch a book after high school, something like that. That's crazy, dude. I would highly encourage anybody listening to this to go pick up a book, a self-help, personal growth, nonfiction book, and learn some shit. And just, dude, if it's 200 pages and you read 15 pages a day, that's going to take you 2 weeks to read. That's it. 2 weeks to read a book, easy. You're going to feel so good when you do. So, then another reason why I thought it was badass was because I kept that promise to myself, you know. I made that commitment subconsciously. I mean, I didn't, open page 1 and say, I'm committing to reading all of this book. I didn't do that shit. I opened the book, and subconsciously I said, I'm going to finish this book, start to finish, and then I move on to the next one. Because that's also a rule. You can't hop books. When you start a book, you got to finish it to move on to the next. So it was awesome keeping that promise to myself. And there's so much value in these books when you pay attention and actually read and learn what the hell is being written, whatever, in front of you. It's so easy to sit back and go through the motions and just read the pages and not comprehend the shit and kind of daydream while you're reading. I don't know how your brain does that shit, but I do it all the time. So I have to kind of restart and start the page over and stuff. But it's so, dude, there's so much value in these books, dude. If you see what books did I read? Let's see. I read 75 Hard. That was one of the books I read, and then The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, I think. Stephen R. Covey. And then How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And then You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. That was a gift to me. And yeah, whatever. And then now I'm reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just some classics, right? And there's just so much value in these books, dude. I mean, some of them are dated a little bit, so the way they're written by some very, very intelligent people, so it's kind of, for me, there's a lot of words that I don't know, and a lot of analogies they use that I'm not familiar with, so I kind of have to stop and think about what's going on and what's being said to get the value out of it. But yeah, dude, if you just stop and listen to what's being said, to what's being written, I guess, dude, it's so invaluable. And it's one thing I took for granted when I guess I wasn't doing it all the time. But now that I'm back on it, it feels so good to learn the shit and read the shit and try to apply it in the ways that I can, or just know that somebody else is going through something similar to me. It's awesome, dude. I like that feeling. So yeah, reading a book, it was awesome. It's probably something I'll never stop doing now. So all right, next up we got the photo. And the photo is probably the most pointless thing, so people think, about the program. You got to take one photo every single day. And you might think, well, why do I have to take one photo every single day? I'm not going to change day to day. But dude, it's the small message, and that is, it's the small things in life that'll get you in the ass. Because I failed the program actually in the past because I didn't take a photo. I failed the program because I didn't take a photo. There's nothing hard at all about taking a photo, about taking a selfie. You literally walk into the bathroom, you hold your phone up, and you push a button. And that's it. And I failed because I didn't do that. And I guess it's a parallel to life. You'll do the small shit, or you'll forget to do the small shit, or do the little tiny minuscule tasks that you think don't matter, and they'll come back and bite you in the ass, and you got to restart the whole thing. It's a great parallel. But also, it is fucking awesome being able to look back every single day and compare that day to literally any other day with progress. And generally speaking, progress isn't linear. So you might have an up and down kind of week where day 50 is actually worse than day 52. Or, excuse me, where day 52 is worse than day 50. You know, so you looked better earlier in the program. And I keep burping, I apologize. Excuse me. But yeah, it's cool being able to look back and stuff like that. But if I'm not on the program, I'm definitely not doing that. I don't look at progress like that for myself. I don't need to that often. But once a week is definitely something I would recommend if you're not doing the program. So anyway, and then no cheats or alcohol. That's another part of the program. I've actually never had a problem with alcohol. I took my first sip of alcohol 2 years ago. Matter of fact, it might even be 2 years on the dot. That's crazy. I moved down to St. George, got my heart broke. It's all good. And decided that I was going to drink with my roommates at the time. And I did. And it was a good time. And since then, I've probably drank 8 or 9 times. I really don't think I don't know, not even 10. I really don't think it's been 10. And I don't have anything against it. Matter of fact, I think it's fun to have a good time with your friends and stuff and drink, but it's just not, I guess it's just not for me. It's not that I won't ever do it again. I'm sure I'll do it again, but it's just got a certain look. It's got a certain crowd associated with it, a certain qualities and traits of people associated with it that I really don't want any part of. And again, not to say that I won't drink again in the future, because I probably will. But it's not something I'm trying to really make a habit of, or even, but it is what it is. And then as far as the no cheating goes, because it's no cheating and no alcohol, cheating is easier for me than most, I would say, or excuse me, not cheating, because the way I look at it with the program is it's an instant fail if I consume something that's not on my diet plan. So if I consume this Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, or if I consume this gummy bear, or if I have this Skittle, or if I have whatever, this toffee covered peanut, that's a fail. I restart the program immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts, no substitutions, no compromise. It is what the fuck it is. I know what I put in my mouth. I know that I made that decision. It's an instant fail. What the fuck would I do that, bro? And so it's really easy for me to just say, no, I'm not doing that. And it's also, it's not something I've necessarily struggled with in the past. It's pretty easy for me to decline most foods, depending on where I'm at in life and what my goals are. I generally speaking, I mean, there's certain, when I competed in my first bodybuilding competition 6 years ago, which is crazy to think about, all I wanted to do the last 10 weeks was eat food, good food. And I didn't give a fuck about the competition at that point, which is how I know I was not in the right state of mind at all. And ultimately why I got the position or the placing that I did in the open and stuff. I mean, I won first in teens, but it's the whole reason why I competed in that show, which is cool, but dude, could have done better, could have looked a lot better. It is what it is. But anyway, another thing that it taught me was I want to feed myself better food loaded with nutrients, sometimes as much whole food as possible. It's not part of my diet though. And then I wanted to give my body the energy it needed to do all the shit that I'm doing. And especially now, dude, I get off work and it's like boom, boom, boom. I got to get so much shit done. And I think that's the next thing I'm going to talk about, actually, after probably tomorrow, actually, when we get some episode 6 going. It's not going to be 75 hard necessarily. It's just going to be kind of a topic about no man's land, as Andy Frisella calls it. And it's something I'm kind of feeling like right now, but I'm loving it, dude. And it's kind of spooky because I'm loving the feeling of what I'm doing right now. But kind of a loner, man, but it is what it is. So anyway, I got a couple more points here, and then we're gonna exit out here. But so, I touched on this yesterday, but I put down here, you become hyper aware of time wasting activities and distractions. And what I mean by that is, during the program, when I know I had to get some reading done, or I know I needed to drink some more water, or I had to finish my second workout or whatever, I know I would be like, I'd be scrolling social media or something, doing that thing where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do one more meme, 2 more memes, 3 more. And I would just kept going. 10, 20, 30 minutes go by, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? I'm wasting all this time. You know, I'm not even making the decision, really, to get my phone out and start scrolling social media. I just do it. And so, because I knew I had all this shit going on for phase 1, I actually deleted all of my social media apps, not the actual profiles, which I've done millions of times, actually like 4 or 5 times now. Deleted the apps off my phone because I knew that I didn't have the strength to just abstain from them. However, I'm now finding out that I do, because I didn't delete the apps off my phone completely. I just took them off my home screen. So if you got an iPhone, you know what I'm talking about. You can scroll all the way to the right and all your apps are there. But I took them all the way over, or I deleted them off my screen, put them all the way over in the far right thing. And then I turned off notifications for everything, for all the apps, so I'm not going to be notified at all. And I did that because I know I've got so much shit going on that I need to get done, and spending even 10 minutes scrolling social media is going to be such a stopper for my momentum and shit that I got going on. I don't want any part of that. I want to come in, I want to come home from work, take care of what I got to take care of, get that shit done, and go to bed and rest easy for the next day. Because I genuinely have been enjoying doing this. I mean, this is only phase 2 this is only day 2 of phase 1, and it's only the second day. I got 28 more to go after a successful completion of today. But this is the 5th podcast, and I look forward to sitting down here now and getting the microphone out in front of my face and talking. I'm not sure it's because if I'm a little bit of a loner and I don't really talk to people that much, especially about all this type of shit, because I love talking about this type of thing. But a lot of people aren't really receptive to this topic of conversation, and it's kind of a bummer. You know, I'd love to talk to people about this. I just got to find the right people, you know. But as of right now, I wouldn't say that I have many close friends at all, let alone friends, period. I would call them associations. I mean, I've got a few really great friends here that I know have my back and support me and love me. But it's a little bit different when you're kind of in that no man's land, which is what I'll talk about tomorrow. But anyway, next thing I wanted to address here was you start to crave challenges and you start to crave growing, and you have that desire to kind of be better in all areas. For me, I guess at least, I started craving the hard times because I knew within my heart, full confidence that I would overcome them. And what I mean is, I wanted to wake up at 2:30 a.m. and go for an outdoor workout. I wanted to wake up at 2:30 a.m. and get an ice bath. I wanted to wake up at 2:30 a.m. and go to the gym, or whatever the case was. I wanted to, I wanted it to rain for my outdoor workout. I wanted just shit like that, dude. And maybe this is program specific, because I can't think of anything off the top of my head outside of life, but I just wanted things to be a little bit harder, you know? And it's awesome. I mean, like halfway through the program, I bought a weighted vest because I was like, hey, these walks and jogs, these are hard, I guess, but I want it to be harder. So I went and bought a 40-pound weighted vest, and I've been doing that. Like today, I put it on, walked backwards, and my knees were on fire. I was out of breath. It was awesome. Such a good feeling. So I'm definitely going to continue doing that. But you start to crave those hard times, those hard challenges, and it's a cool feeling because it makes you think, okay, if I'm doing these hard things, but I want it to be harder, what else can that translate to in my life? If I'm trying to grow a business or something like that, and it's hard, am I going to want it to be harder too? Am I going to want to level up even further, you know? So when we get there, I'll let you know. But it's awesome. And then another thing here is you gain the confidence and self-esteem in yourself due to making and keeping promises that you make to yourself. And the whole program is essentially one giant commitment. You make a promise to yourself every single day, multiple times, saying, I'm going to do this workout. I'm not going to cheat on my diet. I'm going to drink this gallon. And you do that for 75 days straight. So you learn how to make that promise to yourself and how to keep it about 6 or 7 times per day, 75 days in a row. And that really gets you going on that, making promises and keeping them to yourself, because it's actually led so far in my life as to me getting an app. It's called Habitify. It's just an app. It's essentially a checklist. You can do the same shit on your notes app. And you can even use paper and pen. But I like the app because it looks good and it makes good noises. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about that. They earn my money because they make a good product and a good app. And it's making me want to stay the course of what I got going on. And so all it is a habit tracking app, but it keeps track of your streaks and the amount of times you do or don't do something. And it's awesome because I put everything in there. Let me go ahead and read what I got on here for today. There's a few I'm not going to say because they're a little bit personal at the moment. But, so we got follow a diet, drink 1 gallon of water, read 10 pages, record 1 podcast, write 2 pages, 10 things I'm grateful for, 20 minutes of stretching, 10 minutes of dedicated visualization, no cheat meals, no alcohol, a workout, an outdoor workout, a progress photo, 5-minute cold shower, cold plunge, brush teeth twice, floss once, take vitamins and fish oil, track nutrition intake for the entire day, no social media, and there's a few more that I'm not going to share, but that is what I got going on now. And when you complete something, I think I completed the water, so listen. Oh, my phone's on mute. It's awesome, but it makes a little ka-ding sound, and it's just satisfying, dude, and it keeps track. So I can look back on my progress and see how many days in a row I've been doing a certain habit, and I value that streak and that being able to look at that and be like, wow, I've done this for 50 days straight. This is awesome. And yeah, man, I just want to keep that going because it makes you feel really good seeing that. You know, the streak and the consistency is awesome. And I think that's one of the ultimate keys in this whole thing, if not the ultimate key. So yeah, just make that promise, keep it yourself. You feel incredible afterward. All right. Got 3 more here. And so you start caring less and less about the perception of that others have of you, because you know that at the end of the day it's you versus you. And as corny as that lame ass shit sounds, bro, it is so true. Like I said earlier, I got my weighted vest, started walking backwards in a church parking lot, get a really good workout in for my knees, my quads as well. But if I cared about that perception that other people had of me while doing the shit, I probably wouldn't have done it, and that would have robbed me of the growth I would have gotten from doing these workouts in the way that I was doing them. And I found that out when I put a weighted vest on for the first time, and I was walking up the road, and I was by this park, and all these kids were playing football, and all the parents were there, and I got all these looks, or so I think I did. You know, I was so self-conscious about the whole thing because I'm walking down the road with a weighted vest on. And I felt like people were looking at me, and who knows if they were or weren't, but I mean, a few people actually did. I saw it, and I was like, you know what? Why the fuck would I feel insecure or uncomfortable about this? And it's going back to what I said earlier. I'm challenging myself to become better. I'm putting weight on my shoulders to walk, to better myself for not only discipline, but physical improvement, mental improvement, endurance, everything. Why would I ever be embarrassed about that? Because I look funny? Bro, these people are fat as fuck, dude. They're sitting there watching their kid play a game, drinking a beer and eating tacos and shit, bro. Why is that anything for me to be uncomfortable with? And so that got me thinking about a lot, But it really is you versus you at the end of the day. It's just you. And as long as you want to improve and get better and shit like that, I think that's the most important thing. And I think that's another ultimate key to growth. So, yeah, dude, if you're not growing, you're dying. Die or grow. So, it's a fucking mantra, bro. Die or grow. 2 more here. So, upon completion, I look back at how fast the 75 days went by and how much shit I got done in that tiny little time frame. So, it makes me think, what's possible in the next 75 days, or the next 150, or the next 500, or the next 1,000, or the next 10,000. And I think 10,000 days is 27 years or something. Because the 75 days of the program flew by. And I believe I talked about this in episode 1. So if you haven't listened to that one, go check it out. Might have been number 2. Don't know. But dude, the time flew by. And like I said, you made 7 promises or so, at least every single day for 75 days straight. And you fulfilled every single one perfectly, consistently, every day. And you only did that in 75 days? What can you do in double that time frame, dude? And the way that I'm tying it in here is, so in that 75 days, I actually, so upon completion, I actually went out and bought myself a new MacBook Air. It's that new midnight color. It's a 2023 MacBook Air midnight blue or whatever the hell color. And then it's got, I think, half a terabyte, 16 gigs of RAM. And I did that because I wanted to associate that massive accomplishment in my life with the reward of having something nice and efficient and awesome, just this great piece of technology. I wanted that to be my reward, my earning for doing something this so hard for me personally. So now every time I'm on this laptop, every time I use it, I remember that I earned this because I worked my fucking ass off to achieve it. And you can make the argument, because I do this all the time. It's so hard for me to try to reward myself financially with my own money. So like if I say, oh, I'm going to follow this diet, and then when I do, I'm going to buy myself a new pair of shoes. In my head, I'm just going to buy the pair of shoes right now. I'm going to follow shit. It's my money. I can buy the shoes now. I can have them now. I don't got to follow on a diet. And so I've always done that. But it feels good knowing and associating that massive victory in my life with this awesome reward in return, because I've been using this every single day ever since I got it. And I think I'm a Mac guy now. So there's that. But anyway, it's awesome, man, because you just, what can you do in the next 75 days? And that was the other thing. If 75 days gets me a $1,500 laptop, what can a 10,000 days get me, dude? What are we talking about here? 75 days gets me $1,500, so to speak. What's 10,000 days get me? Something to think about. Doesn't translate that way, but something to think about. And then the last thing, and I'm going to end this podcast, is, and I already talked about this, but I'm going to hammer it home, but you can start now, dude. 75 days flew by. I just chose to start, and so I did. And because I chose to start when I wasn't necessarily ready, I am here where I am now, reaping the reward of just starting now. If I didn't choose to start that day, and even fail 5 days afterward, I wouldn't be in the position. I wouldn't be on phase 1 right now. I wouldn't be doing the program. I wouldn't be recording a pod. You wouldn't be hearing from me. I wouldn't be doing this. But because I made that decision right then and there to better myself, to make this commitment to myself, because I owe it to myself to live up to my truest potential, not just for myself, but for my future family, for so many different things for so many different people that I haven't even met yet. Because I made that decision right then and there to start and commit to myself, and prove to myself that I can do this hard thing. I am here now recording episode 5 of BCast, okay? Sitting in the corner of my dark-ass room at 6:45 p.m. on Tuesday with a microphone on my face and a laptop in front of me, just talking to myself. And you're listening, and that's awesome. None of this would be possible if I didn't make the commitment to just start right now. And that makes me think of what else you can do in life with that same attitude. You can do that with reading. You can do that with starting a business. You can do that with learning how to a new language, how to code. Uncle's fixing the ceiling beneath me. It's all good. What can you start today, right now? And that's literally anything. And the fact that we have the ability to do that is mind-blowing. You can start anything. I'm so fascinated by that whole concept. You can start fucking anything right now. So, like, why don't you, you know? I mean, I started this podcast. I wasn't really ready to do shit. Go listen to episode 1, bro. Compare it to this one. This one's already better. I mean, I started writing shit. That's a whole other thing. I started writing gratefuls, you know, gratitudes. And, dude, it's awesome, man. You can just start anything you want right now. And so definitely, that was probably the take-home point right there for me. Just commit to that shit, and you'll be surprised at where you'll be, even though you're not ready to start, or you don't got things figured out. Bro, I sat down today, and I literally was sitting on my bed. I'm like, do I want to go record now? I guess I will. And I literally sat down, plugged my mic in, started recording within 30 seconds. And the last 4 episodes, it's taking me about 5 minutes to commit to just starting to speak, because I don't have an intro. I don't have music playing. I don't know what the fuck to say. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody's even listening to any of these. As of right now, these first 4 episodes that I've posted, and I guess maybe after the one you're hearing now, nobody's listened to any of these. I'm not complaining. That's intentional. I'm not telling anybody about these, because once I get to episode 100, it's going to be fucking cool to put that out there, to say, hey, I got started with this shit, and nobody, not one person, listened to any of my first 100 shows. Well, yeah, you didn't promote it. Yeah, dude. Do you think it's easier or harder to keep going when you know nobody's listening, dude? If I had people listening and random Joe Schmo people, dude, I think I'd be more discouraged by the fact that, dude, I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. Either way, I'm just stoked that I'm doing this, and I feel really good about it. And also, like I said, I budgeted 20 minutes for this, and we're going on 40 minutes, I believe. So I should be getting ready to go to bed here for my 7 hours and 45 minutes. But I don't think it's going to happen, dude, because I still got to stretch. I still got to do a lot of other shit. So time consuming. But I love it, dude. So that is going to be episode 5 in a nutshell right there. So thank you guys so much for listening. Again, if you've listened to the first 100 or you're listening now from 1 to 100, and I'm probably at like episode 200 or something, you listen to the first 100, you're in the sub 100 club, baby. Don't know what that means, but it means that you're a true fan, you're a true baby, whatever. I don't want to say fan. I just pulled that from Chris D'Elia too, a true baby. Whatever. You're a fucking homie. I don't know. Anyway, that is episode 5. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Probably going to talk about something else that I haven't figured out yet. But, yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.